शुरू
हाँ
करते
ठीक।
हैं. Firstly, I would like to welcome Professor R.K. Shukla sir from Library DTU. Uh, Thank you, sir, for the readily availability for giving the talk to our new, I think, young minds, na. So they are going to complete their project in the coming 2 semester, both BTech, MSc students, and along with them, the PhD first year students are here with us, who are going to start their journey in the research. So I hope that this will be very beneficial to you all. Thank you all. Thank you, sir, for agreeing to give a talk on plagiarism and research ethics. So, hand over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So now we will talk of the term plagiarism. Plagiarism is a term which is often said that it is the practice of plagiarism is unethical but not illegal. And many times it is considered as parallel to the copyright violation, which is not. In copyright, if you are violating the copyright, it means you are copying the work of someone and you are earning some money out of that. That is copyright violation. And if you take the permission from the author and you earn the money and you copy the work, that is not copyright violation. But in the case of plagiarism, what is there? Even if you take the permission of the author and you copy his or her work, and whenever your work is checked through the software and similarity is found there, it means you are plagiarizing the work. As in the case of your literature review, what we are doing, we are copying many sentences and we are putting them in inverted comma, or we are using in our own language, but when we run the software, it says that there is a similarity, and if this similarity is beyond certain limit, then it is said that you cannot submit the work. It is very peculiar situation in the case of copyright and in the case of plagiarism. जैसे आपने कहीं से भी जब आप लिटरेचर रिव्यू करेंगे, खास करके जो बीटेक वाले स्टूडेंट्स हैं, because when you will be writing the research paper in your research track course, so there are limit of 7, 8 page, 9 page, 10 page research paper you will be publishing. और जब आप उसमें लिटरेचर रिव्यू करेंगे तो वहां पर आप किसी न किसी ऑथर को 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 जितने भी आप चाहते हैं अपने वर्क के हिसाब से उनको आप रेफर करेंगे. And when you are referring them and when you are checking your paper before submission or the publisher is checking your paper after submission, so there will be similarity. Even if you take the permission from the author, they will say that you have plagiarized the work if it is beyond certain limit. जैसे हमारे यहाँ I will let you know what policy DQ is following later on. So the term plagiarism is very very much talked about, but it is misunderstood also. And since it is not an illegal work, we don't find any definition in the legal books. For copyright, there is Copyright Act, so we find the definition in legal books, and we can go according to that. For plagiarism, you cannot be charged in a court of law. If you want to charge somebody in the court of law, then you have to charge them under either fraud or for cheating, and those are criminal works.
सर
Then
स्क्रीन चेंज नहीं हो रहा है सर।
नहीं
आर
हो
यू
रहा।
फर्स्ट स्लाइड? आप फर्स्ट स्लाइड पे हो सर?
हाँ, फर्स्ट पे हूँ।
अच्छा ठीक है,
दिख रही है
इस
ना?
पे। हाँ हाँ,
हाँ
फर्स्ट स्लाइड पे ना
ठीक है।
डेफिनेशन ऑफ प्लेगरिज्म
हाँ
पे।
हाँ हाँ, ठीक है
ठीक है सर,
है।
क्योंकि कुछ इशू आता है पावर पॉइंट के साथ, चेंज नहीं होता ना।
हाँ, कई बार हो जाता है।
ठीक है सर।
हाँ। So before we talk of plagiarism, we will see that what are various definitions given in the dictionary. There are various dictionaries, and I have taken from some of the dictionaries. Like there is Oxford Dictionary. Oxford Dictionary describes it as plagiarize, and it is saying that it is a verb. Plagiarize means disapproving to copy another person's ideas, words, or work and pretend that they are your own. Means if you are giving the reference, proper reference, you are giving the proper credit to the author, then it will not be said that you have plagiarized the work. But in the case of copyright, even if you are giving the credit to the author and you are earning the money and you have not taken the permission from the author, you are violating the copyright and you can be charged for that in the court of law. In the case of plagiarism, it is not there. Similarity and plagiarism, these two are also different types of things. Similarity may be there, and your work may not be accepted if it is beyond certain limit. But if you are properly referencing the work, citing the work of the author, then you are not plagiarizing the work. These two things are different. Now, what hyperdictionary says? Hyperdictionary says the act of plagiarizing means taking someone's words or ideas as if they were your own. Similar to Oxford Dictionary. And further, they are saying that a piece of writing that has been copied from someone else and is presented as being your own. Only the language is different. But what they want to say that whenever you are trying to say or you are trying to pretend that it is your work, but that is not, and whereas it is not your work, it is somebody else's work, and you are not giving credit to me by way of citing it or referencing it, then it is said that it is plagiarism. Now there is also one dictionary that is online legal dictionary. How they say, because they are legal people, so they have some more clarity on this. They are saying that plagiarism is taking the writing or literary concept. They have added this also, literary concept also, like a plot, character, or words of another and selling and or publishing them as one's own product. Quotes which are brief or acknowledge that quotes do not constitute plagiarism. Means when you are giving proper credit to the originator of the work then it is not plagiarism. Now, why we are talking of similarity when we are checking plagiarism, the reason it, it is also very difficult to say that whatever is similar in the sentences, you are plagiarizing that. Because there may be a sentence which thousands of people have used it, and those it is not possible for you to reference all those thousand sentences, because the grammar which we are using and the words which we are using, there is a limit, and the same sentence are said in the same way. Same idea is said in the similar sentences. So that is not that is also not possible. So the actual author can bring a lawsuit for appropriation of his work against the plagiarist and recover the profit. If it is being done for the profit, then he can recover the profit. He can ask for certain amount, the portion of certain amount. Normally, plagiarism is not a crime because it is not illegal. It is unethical only. But it can be used as basis of fraud charge or copyright infringement. If you will charge somebody for fraud or copyright infringement or for stealing your work, then it becomes a crime, and that can be, and that person can be charged under those rules only. Like if you are being charged for fraud, it means you are being charged under Indian Penal Code section 420. But there is no, as such, there is no provision in the law to charge for plagiarism. He will charge you for fraud or copyright infringement only. And now there are various types of plagiarism. These have been defined by these software vendors who are supplying the software for checking similarity. So one is direct form. What is that direct form? When you are copying as such, fully or partially copy the text, computer files, audio or video recording without mentioning the primary source. Many times when we are writing research articles or we are writing thesis, what we do, uh, we cite from secondary sources, not from the primary sources. And if secondary sources from where we are citing, suppose from a textbook, and that textbook has taken certain part from some original work, maybe some research paper, and if there is any mistake in citing, in the citation, it may be the page number mistake even, and you are copying from there only, and you are giving the reference to the citation from secondary source, that is also treated as plagiarism, that you are misguiding the person that you have taken from that particular place. That is also considered as plagiarism. There is also mosaic form, like direct form, then they are saying mosaic form. What is mosaic form? Where mosaic आप जानते हैं ना क्या होता है? इधर उधर की बहुत सी चीजें मिला के जैसे बना देते हैं कई कलर से. Borrowing ideas and opinions from the original source, a few words and phrases without citing the source. One thing more is there, that is called self-plagiarism. When what you are doing, you are recycling your own work done by you previously, and you are not referring to that. That is called self-plagiarism, and that is also not permissible when you are doing the academic work. Either you are writing the research paper or you are writing the thesis, because that particular person has already in the public domain. And if you are not referring to that, Whenever you will run the software, it will take it as similarity, and it and the if the similarity goes beyond the permissible limit, then your work will be rejected. So while writing your research articles or your thesis, you take care of this, because in DTU, when you are writing your thesis, especially PhD thesis, it is said that two research papers should already be published in some a list of journals is there, and which is called SCI index journals, and it should be there. It means your work has already been published before submission of the thesis. So it will take similarity from there. For the purpose of DTU, it is okay. But if you are sending some research paper based on your thesis, and you are not referring your previous work, and some portion you are taking from there, that will be a self-plagiarism and may not be accepted by the journal. It may be there. Then there is one remix plagiarism, combining several slightly modified works but without acknowledging the original creator. One more type is there, that is called retweet or control C. When you are retweeting the same thing, you are copying. Control C means, as you are doing in the computer, control C means copy paste. So that is another one, and that which I was talking just before, that's called error 404 plagiarism. That if you are citing some wrong reference for your work, for the work which you are copying in your thesis or your research paper, and somebody wants to recheck it, whether really you have taken from there, then what will happen? There will be an error 404, because that particular phrase is not available. So that is also treated as plagiarism. Means work with some missing or incomplete reference, so the original source cannot be found. Then find and replace plagiarism, where you are replacing certain words when you are using like the software like Grammarly. You can do this type of things, that you can replace certain words, because it will prompt you to replace certain words, so that uh, your similarity can be reduced. Although you are reducing your similarity, but since you are borrowing the idea from somebody else, now it is a type of plagiarism. Somebody can charge you that it was her original idea and you have copied it from somewhere else before they published it. Suppose there is a conference and some idea is there and the conference is not published, the papers presented in the conference, and you have borrowed from there, changed certain words, and then published as a research paper, you can charge. Although it is not available in the public domain, but he can charge you because that was already presented, and he can prove, he can prove that he or she has presented this paper before your work is published in the conference, and you can be caught on that. Then hybrid and mashup plagiarism, combining information from a few different sources, acknowledging original creator, but with no development of new ideas. We are doing this in our literature review. We are combining various types of information from different authors and from different sources, though we acknowledge, but we do not develop any new idea there in that particular chapter. We developed in other chapters only. So, although it is plagiarism, but since it is being done for the academic activity and in later chapters we are developing our new ideas, or we are uh, taking that particular idea for some other work. So that is not plagiarism, but if you are not developing new idea, then that is plagiarism. Then recycle and clone. It is similar to clone means direct as it is, and recycle means self-plagiarism. You are recycling your work, your own work only. So how to prevent? How to prevent plagiarism? So in this, what we have to do, that we must properly cite relevant publications and cite facts and conclusions, or published or unpublished ideas, and works of other researchers and authors. Citation is the primary requirement so that nobody can charge you for plagiarism. Similarity may be there, your work may be rejected, but you must cite that. Your, your work may be, if more similarity is there, it can be rejected only on the ground of more similarity, which is not acceptable to that particular journal or that particular conference or a particular university where you are submitting your thesis. But you must cite so that nobody can charge you for plagiarism. The reader should be clearly informed of the facts from the original text of other authors or of recycled articles from other sources. So this you must do. You should properly cite references in their original form. The authors, article title, abbreviated journal title, year of publication, volume, edition, number, initial and final page of the published article, or the other source in accordance to the order prescribed. जैसा भी है आप ओरिजिनल सोर्स को एज इट इज साइट करें, पूरा डिटेल दें, तो पेजेस का, वॉल्यूम का, एडिशन का, जो भी उसमें है। बहुत से जर्नल्स हैं वो एडिशंस में छपते हैं, बहुत से जर्नल है वॉल्यूम में छपते हैं, बहुत से जर्नल्स हैं वो मंथ में छपते हैं, वो मंथ इशू होता है, ईयर दिया होता है। जैसा उस जर्नल में है उस ढंग से उसको साइट करें जिससे कि वो ढूंढा जा सके। इसी तरह अगर मान लीजिए जर्नल आर्टिकल नहीं है, बुक है, तो उसका उसी ढंग से करें। वेरियस मतलब नेक्स्ट कभी अगर मौका मिला तो जो डिफरेंट स्टाइल्स ऑफ साइटिंग है, रेफरेंसिंग है, जैसे मैडम अभी मंडे पे बात करेंगी, तो शायद उतना डिटेल ना मिले जब मंडे पे बात करेंगे। बहुत सी स्टाइल्स हैं कि जो स्टाइल मतलब आपका जर्नल मांग रहा है उसको उसी ढंग से उसको साइट करें। You should use the knowledge acquired in the lectures, conferences, or other sources of scientific and technical literature, provided that each source must include full bibliographic information. Bibliographic information means the information from by which that particular item can be found. जैसे आपकी कोई कॉन्फ्रेंस है तो कहाँ पर हुई, किसी कोई यूनिवर्सिटी या बॉडी करा रही है तो उसका रेफरेंस, किस ईयर में हुई उसका रेफरेंस, अगर कॉन्फ्रेंस का कोई नाम था तो उसका रेफरेंस, ये सारी चीजें डिटेल्स उसमें आप यू author must mention होने चाहिए to get that. Author must mention each citation in the text indicated in the bibliography at the end of the text and put it in quotation marks, copied the content of which have more than 6 consecutive words. कई बार होता है हम इन टेक्स्ट साइटेशन करते हैं, टेक्स्ट के बीच में ब्रैकेट में लिख देते हैं, मान लीजिए कोई एक आर्टिकल है धीरज जी का, तो उसमें हमने लिख दिया धीरज 1990, लेकिन हम पीछे रेफरेंस जहां बिब्लियोग्राफी बनाते हैं वहां नहीं लिखते, तो वो ढूंढा नहीं जा सकता। यहाँ तो आपने लिख दिया, पीछे डिटेल नहीं दिया, तो इसलिए दोनों जगह डिटेल होने चाहिए। यहाँ तो आपने शॉर्ट में दे दिया, लेकिन वहां पीछे कंप्लीट डिटेल उसका होना चाहिए कि वो 1990 का क्या है, कोई बुक है, उसका टाइटल, कौन पब्लिशर है, किस ईयर में पब्लिश हुई, और अगर कोई जनरल आर्टिकल है तो उसका उस तरह का डिटेल आप वहां पर। Authors must obtain permission from other authors or publishers of scientific reproduction of protected material. अगर कोई मटेरियल ऐसा है, हालांकि जितना भी कॉपीराइटेड मटेरियल भी होता है उसमें ये परमिशन उसमें लिखी होती है कि दिस कैन बी यूज्ड, कॉपीराइट लॉ कहता है फॉर एकेडमिक पर्पस, लेकिन फिर भी अगर आप ज़्यादा पोर्शन कॉपी कर रहे हैं तो आप परमिशन दीजिए, क्योंकि हो सकता है आप अपनी थीसिस कल को पब्लिश करें, तो जब पब्लिश करें और उससे पैसे कमाने लगे तो जो ऑथर्स हैं जिनको आपने कोट किया है वो आपसे पैसे मांग सकते हैं। पैसे थीसिस लेवल तक, अवार्ड के लेवल तक नहीं मांगेंगे, बुक लेवल पे मांग सकते हैं, इसलिए आप पहले समझी परमिशन ले लें, जिससे कि इस तरह के कोई कॉम्प्लिकेशन क्रिएट ना हो पाए। If the author reused text or attachments as another author's own observation, then published in the article in quotation marks should be accompanied by a quote of recycled text published in the primary source. ठीक है, अगर आपने किसी के ऑब्जर्वेशन एज सच आप कोट करना चाहते हो तो उनको कोटेशन मार्क में करो और पीछे कंप्लीट उसका रेफरेंस। Authors and co-authors must sign a declaration of originality and authorship which provides description of contribution by each of them separately in an article. ये बहुत से पब्लिशर मांगते हैं कि आपका कितना कितना इसमें कंट्रीब्यूशन है, तो वो आप दे सकते हैं, तो कई बार नहीं भी मांगते। अब प्रोसीजर क्या है हमारे यहाँ, कैसे हम डिटेक्ट करते हैं, तो हम क्या करते हैं, लाइब्रेरी हैज ए सेक्शन असाइन फॉर दिस वर्क ओनली, तो वो आपको सर्टिफिकेट देते हैं। जब आप अपनी थीसिस अभी ये कर दिया कि एमटेक की थीसिस जो है सुपरवाइजर सर्टिफाई कर देंगे, उसकी जरूरत नहीं है लाइब्रेरी से, लेकिन अभी पीएचडी में है, पहले एमटेक में भी थी, तो यहाँ पर एक सेक्शन है, वो सेक्शन आपकी थीसिस को चेक करेगा। अभी एट प्रेजेंट वी आर यूजिंग टर्नपिन, देयर मे बी अनदर सॉफ्टवेयर आल्सो, there is one software Urkund which is provided by UGC, and most of the universities are using Urkund, and because this Turnitin is very costly software, but we are using Turnitin. So the case may be that if you are in some other university, after BTech you are going to some other university, they may be using Urkund. Any software can be used. Now the section in the library will issue a report of plagiarism, which is called as plagiarism verification report, and they will certify and authenticate whatever check has been performed, what is the result of that. Okay? And then that report is submitted to the DRC, and DRC further examines if there is a similarity from your own research paper. DRC will see on the basis of the certificate given by the supervisor that that particular portion may be deleted. Library will give you the complete report. Now in the Turnitin, there is a provision that even if we exclude your research paper, in the report it is mentioned that this particular research paper are given in the number. I will show you the original report, then you can understand it better. And all research students shall provide a declaration of the originality of the work to be presented by them for evaluation. The relevant form shall have an additional column to show and confirm that the thesis is on the plan. Then there are certain forms which are available in the library site that you can use, especially the PhD students. And what is excluded in the plagiarism? Quotes, whatever you are giving under quotations and you are properly referencing, so the software will exclude that because you are properly acknowledging the work of the author from where you have taken. Bibliography, which you are giving in the last. Sometimes we call it bibliography, sometimes we call it references. That is excluded. Phrases are also excluded. A small message up to 10 words. We have two policies here. One is DTU policy, one is UGC policy. Earlier, UGC was not having a policy, so we framed our own policy. And as per that policy, 10 words, constitutive 10 words are excluded. But when we are considering 10 words, we made the similarity uh, criteria that there should not be more than 15% similarity in PhD work and 20% in master's work. But what UGC says, they are not talking of PhD or master's course. They are simply saying that a small message up to 14 words, but the percentage should not include 10%. So both way the report comes similar. 10 words and 15% or 14 words 10%. Small similarity less than 1%. If there is less than 1% similarity from a particular uh, source, it should not be counted, but it was in our DTU policy, it is not in the UGC policy. And presently we are following the UGC policy for PhD work. Mathematical formula, name of the institutions, departments, etc. are excluded. For self-citation, there is provision that these can be excluded if these are related with your PhD work. If these are not related with your PhD work, then those are not considered and it has to be certified by the supervisor. Then there are certain provisions that if there is a plagiarism, how we will go uh, when the certain action is required. Then the complaint has to be submitted to the Dean PG or Dean IRD, and a committee will be formed, and that committee will ensure that if there is a plagiarism, then certain penalty has to be imposed. And it is said that if it is a low-level plagiarism, what is low-level plagiarism? Similar terms have also been used in the UGC policy also. Mostly it seems that the plagiarism is a result of negligence and intent to cheat is not clear. That is low level. The student may be let off with counseling about plagiarism and allowed to submit the work. If there is mid-level plagiarism, it means failure to cite proper references, copying a few paragraphs only from online sources such as Wikipedia, etc. Intent to cheat is very low and may be due to lack of knowledge. The student may be allowed to resubmit the work within the defined time frame. If there is a high level, then the committee will propose certain actions and those actions will be taken against the student. Quantification of plagiarism is left to the judgment and decision of the committee, which will be constituted by the dean. Similar, there are provisions for the faculty also, and the same procedure is being followed. Now, I will show you one live report from Trentin so that you can understand how the report is generated. Now I'm closing this presentation. ब्लैंक विंडो दिख रही है किरण जी?
यस सर, दिख रहा है सर।
ब्लैंक दिख रही है ना?
यस सर।
बिल्कुल सिमिलरिटी वाली है जिनको दिखा दूँ। इसमें जैसे देखिए मैंने कुछ चेक की हैं, तो जैसे छोटी सी दिखाता हूँ। जैसे एक ये है, इसमें रिसर्च पेपर इनके अपने ही जो हैं बहुत से साइटेड। ये है, अब इसमें 40% सिमिलरिटी दिखा रही हैं और टोटल रेफरेंसेस हैं 14। इसमें बहुत से जो जर्नल्स हैं, उसमें जो रेफरेंसेस हैं वो इनके अपने पेपर्स हैं। जिसमें ये पेपर है, ये हैं, ये सारे इनके अपने हैं। तो इसको हम सारे को एक्सक्लूड कर सकते हैं और एक्सक्लूड करने के बाद ये ठीक से आ जाएगा। लेकिन जब इसकी रिपोर्ट जनरेट होती है तो जैसे आप यहाँ देखें 3 नंबर यहाँ पड़ा हुआ है, तो 3 नंबर कहाँ से लिया? यहाँ,
यस।
ये रेफरेंस है। अब इस रेफरेंस को हम यहाँ से एक्सक्लूड भी कर सकते हैं अगर इनका अपना है, और हम यहाँ से इसको देख भी सकते हैं कि कहाँ से ये है। ये ठीक है। तो इसमें ये जिनका पेपर है, ये रीमा देवी का, तो ये रीमा देवी ही इसकी देखिए ऑथर है, यहाँ नाम आ रहा है रीमा देवी, रिसर्च स्कॉलर, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ इंग्लिश। इनका अपना पेपर है। तो इसको हम अगर एक्सक्लूड कर देंगे तो 40% से जो भी इनके अपने पेपर हैं तो वो इससे एक्सक्लूड हो जाएंगे। जो अगर ये किसी से रिलेटेड, अगर रिलेटेड नहीं है तो नहीं होंगे। अब जैसे मान लीजिए हमने इसको एक्सक्लूड किया, तो जब हम रिपोर्ट बनाएंगे, अभी 37 रह गई, तो रिपोर्ट में ये दिखेगा कि हमने एक्सक्लूड क्या किया है। इससे रिपोर्ट आई, ये तो पूरी लिस्ट है जहाँ से जितना जितना आप ले रहे हैं। जैसे हमारी पॉलिसी में था कि अगर लेस देन 1% है तो ये भी एक्सक्लूड कर देना चाहिए। अब इसमें क्या है, एक्सक्लूडेड सर्च रिपोजिटरी कोई नहीं करी, रिपोजिटरी हमने एक्सक्लूड नहीं करी। बिब्लियोग्राफी हमने करी है ये एक्सक्लूडेड, बिब्लियोग्राफी कोर्स स्मॉल मैसेज लेस देन 14 वर्ड्स। अब अगर हम इसको 10 वर्ड्स करें एज पर आवर पॉलिसी तो यहाँ 10 लिख के आएगा। और ये 2 रिसोर्स इसमें 9% के हमने एक्सक्लूड किए, जो इनके पेपर हैं, ये लिख के आ गया। तो अभी जब रिपोर्ट डीआरसी के सामने जाएगी तो डीआरसी इसको चेक कर लेगी कि ये इन्हीं का है कि नहीं, और उसके बाद इनको जो है उसी ढंग से इसको देख ली। ठीक है। अब इनसे 42 हो गए, अगर परमिशन हो, क्योंकि डीसी साहब के पास जाना है, तो अगर मैं
श्योर
यहाँ
श्योर
पर
सर।
खत्म करूँ?
हाँ हाँ हाँ, श्योर
हाँ,
सर।
ठीक है।
थैंक यू सर फॉर
थैंक यू वेरी
बीइंग
मच,
हियर
थैंक यू।
and giving your precious time. I hope that all the students are getting benefited from this lecture, and I think that they have now better understanding how plagiarism is, and how to avoid plagiarism, and what is the similarity and plagiarism, the major difference. So that thank you sir for presenting the very nicely.
थैंक यू, थैंक यू,
Thank
थैंक
you
यू
sir.
अगेन,
Thanks a lot sir.
थैंक यू।
Thanks.